5 Tyson plants shut down, thousands of jobs gone, communities shaken. In small towns, losing a major employer is an earthquake, not just a headline. For generations, these plants were the backbone of their communities. Now, that foundation is gone. Tonight, we go beyond the headlines to examine the real impact, the data, the people, and the ripple effects. Tyson's closures aren't just about one company, they're a sign of a changing American industry. Locked gates, empty lots, and families facing an uncertain future. This is the new reality. We'll break down each closure, the reasons behind them, and what it means for the workers left behind. Let's get started. Our story begins in North Little Rock, Arkansas. For decades, Tyson's poultry plant was the economic heart of the city. On March 13, 2023, Tyson announced the plant's closure, effective May 12. The official reason: efficiency and modernization. But for over 1,100 workers, it meant the end of steady work and stability. Many employees had spent decades at the plant, their skills tied to a single industry. The closure sent shockwaves through the community, lost jobs, lost tax revenue, and local businesses suddenly struggling. Tyson offered relocation and other jobs, but for most, leaving their homes and families wasn't an option. The plant's age and high upgrade costs made it a target for closure as Tyson shifted to newer automated mega plants. Local officials worried about the economic vacuum left behind. The plant's closure was the first domino, signaling a new era of consolidation in American manufacturing. For workers, it was more than a job lost, it was a way of life erased. The building now stands silent, a stark reminder of what's been lost. This wasn't just a business decision, it was a turning point for the city. The closure highlighted a national trend, companies consolidating into fewer, larger, more efficient facilities. Arkansas, Tyson's home state, felt the blow deeply. The message was clear: no plant was safe from market pressures. Former employees described shock, betrayal, and the daunting search for new work. The camaraderie and community built inside those walls are now memories. The economic and social impact will be felt for years. North Little Rock's story is a microcosm of a larger shift in American industry. Efficiency and profit now outweigh legacy and loyalty. The closure set a precedent for what was to come. For over 1,100 families, it marked the start of a difficult new chapter. The city must now find a way to rebuild. The first domino had fallen. The same day Arkansas got the news, so did Glen, Virginia. Tyson's plant here, a fixture since 1969, was set to close on May 12, 2023. Nearly 700 jobs vanished overnight. The company's reasoning echoed Arkansas: efficiency, consolidation, and shifting production to larger, automated plants. For Glen, the loss was personal. Generations had worked there, and the plant was woven into the community's fabric. Local officials were blindsided, scrambling to support displaced workers. Tyson offered relocation, but for most, moving wasn't realistic. The closure was part of a dual announcement, signaling Tyson's aggressive restructuring. The plant's shutdown left a void in the local economy and a sense of instability. The hum of machinery and daily routines disappeared, replaced by uncertainty. The closure raised questions about Tyson's future in the poultry market and the fate of smaller regional plants. Glen story mirrored North Little Rock's: jobs lost, a community shaken, and a legacy ended. The impact rippled through families, businesses, and local services. The building now stands silent, a symbol of economic change. The closure was not just about numbers, it was about people and the loss of a way of life. Tyson's strategy was clear: fewer, bigger, more efficient plants. For the 692 workers, the company's long-term plans offered little comfort. The community must now adapt to a new reality. Glen experience is part of a nationwide pattern. The pain of this closure will linger. The dominoes continued to fall, the story was far from over. Next, Corydon, Indiana. A small town hit hard. In August 2023, Tyson announced its plant would close in early 2024. The reason: the same drive for efficiency and consolidation. Corydon lost 368 jobs, devastating for a town of just over 3,000. The plant had operated for over 70 years, employing generations. Its closure threatened the town's economic fabric and identity. Local leaders scrambled to help, but replacing those jobs in a rural area was a huge challenge. Tyson's relocation offer was little help for workers rooted in the community. The closure exposed the vulnerability of towns dependent on a single employer. Local businesses braced for fewer customers and shrinking revenues. The loss also hit public services, with less tax money for schools and infrastructure. The Corydon closure was announced alongside Dexter, Missouri, another blow. Workers faced months of anxiety, knowing their jobs would soon disappear. The plant's smokestacks, once a symbol of prosperity, now signaled an ending. Market shifts and rising costs forced Tyson's hand, but the human cost was immense. The town's legacy as an industrial hub was ending. Corydon's story is a warning. When a single company leaves, the whole town suffers. The community must now reinvent itself. The closure marked the end of an era. The domino effect continued. Dexter, Missouri, faced the same fate as Corydon. Tyson's August 2023 announcement meant the plant would close in early 2024. Nearly 700 jobs were lost in a town of 8,000, a catastrophic blow. The plant had been a cornerstone for decades, employing generations. The closure was part of Tyson's aggressive consolidation, targeting older, less efficient facilities. Local leaders in the state rushed to help, but finding new jobs for so many was daunting. Tyson's relocation offer was again out of reach for most. The closure was driven by falling chicken prices, weak demand, and rising costs. For Dexter, the loss was personal. Tyson was part of the town's identity. Small businesses feared for their future as customers disappeared. The plant's silence marked the end of an era. The closure was a data-driven move, but the human toll was severe. Dexter's experience showed how fragile single-employer economies can be. The community faced a difficult winter, with livelihoods ending. The simultaneous closures in Dexter and Corydon underscored Tyson's new strategy. The pain was widespread, the recovery uncertain. The story of Dexter is a stark reminder of the risks small towns face. The dominoes kept falling. The future was uncertain. The town was left to pick up the pieces. The final and largest closure hit Noel, Missouri. In October 2023, Tyson announced the plant would close by year's end. This time, 1,500 jobs vanished in a town of just over 2,100. The plant was Noel's economic engine and its identity. The workforce was diverse. Immigrants and refugees from around the world found opportunity here. The closure threatened not just jobs but the multicultural fabric of the town. Local leaders called it a body blow. The loss of tax revenue threatened schools and city services. Many workers had nowhere else to go. Relocation was not an option for most. The housing market and local businesses faced collapse. Aid organizations braced for a humanitarian crisis. The closure was about more than economics. It was about the survival of a community. The plant's shutdown left a physical and emotional void. The daily rhythm of life in Noel was upended. The closure amplified all the themes of the previous shutdowns: efficiency, consolidation, and the vulnerability of small towns. The story of Noel became a national symbol of the risks of modern industrial capitalism. The consequences were immediate and severe. The town's future was in jeopardy. The closure forced difficult questions about corporate responsibility. The economic ripple effects would be felt far beyond Noel. The domino effect reached its peak here. The silence after the shutdown was deafening. Noel's story is a warning for towns everywhere. In total, over 4,400 jobs disappeared. North Little Rock, Glen, Corydon, Dexter, and Noel. But behind the numbers are real people and communities left to pick up the pieces. Tyson's strategy: fewer, larger, more automated plants, a trend reshaping American industry. The result: hollowed out towns, lost jobs, and a growing disconnect between corporations and communities. The road ahead is uncertain for these towns. They must rebuild, retrain, and hope for new opportunities. The pain of reinvention is real, and success is not guaranteed. The dust is still settling, but the impact will last for years. These closures force us to ask, what do companies owe the communities that built them? How do we create a more resilient economy, where one closure doesn't devastate an entire town? The answers aren't easy, but the stories of these 5 towns are a wake-up call. As industry changes, so must our approach to supporting workers and communities. The dominoes have fallen. The future depends on how we respond.